What do I believe? Who am I now? The truth will set me free. Who am I now?
Hi, and welcome to the second episode of Take 5 with John. This time I want to look at the idea of history, our history. And I don't mean looking at Alexander the Great or William the Conqueror or whatever it may be, although interesting as it may well be. I'm talking about our history, the history of us, where we come from, the environment we were brought up in, the circumstances in which we found ourselves, and the influence that those circumstances, that environment, the parents, the area we were brought up, the school we went to, has on us today. And surprisingly, it has quite a large effect on how we are, the way in which we think now, the way in which we react now. And that, I guess, is why a lot of people have anxieties based on childhood events or whatever happened to them when they were younger, which still affects them today, which is sad, bearing in mind that we only have today. You know, yesterday is yesterday. We can't really change yesterday, and tomorrow isn't guaranteed, so all we've got really is now. So I thought about this, and I thought, can we do anything to change that? Well, obviously we can't do anything to change what happened when we were younger, but we can change the way in which we react as a result of those influences when we were younger. And I think that's really important. I came from an East End background, was in East London and lived in East London until I was about 22, 23. And now, even now, I have a reaction to certain things that I can directly relate back to those days. And also, don't forget that we have influences from our parents that, you know, from 0 to 7, they say, give me the child from 0 to 7, I'll give you the man or woman. So that has a major influence on the way in which we act and our biases today. And a lot of childhood events become an issue. A lot of people need therapy for those things. But I understand what went on in my childhood. I understand where I'm still showing bias now when I react to certain things. And I have a choice. I can either change that or I live with it. I choose to try to change it and try to be aware of it. Not that it's bad, but it's not. It was then. It was like 50 years. No, not 50 years ago. I'm an accountant, but I can't. My maths is terrible. You know, it's time to leave the past behind. So we have a choice in all things. We have a choice to either ignore and to go forward, understanding why we're ignoring it and understanding why these things happen, or we can live in the past, and that past will have a direct effect on how we are now, and the problems that were then are still now, reliving all the time. So I think we have a choice, but we need to understand that choice. We need to understand what we're doing. We need to understand why we're doing these things. We need to understand the circumstances. And I think not just the circumstances of the past, but the circumstances of the people that were around us at the time, our parents, what influenced their decisions that made them react the way they reacted, to give us what we've got in terms of anxiety, if anything, or just a very, very happy existence. I'm not a great philosopher reader. It's very difficult to read philosophy, but I try. And is a guy. I'm going to get the book. Excuse me. It's Jose Ortega y Gasset, Spanish philosopher. I think he died 1955, but he talks of this very thing, and it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. So what I want, if you want to, is to consider your past, consider the circumstances of your past, the history of where you were, the history of where you were brought up, what was going on around you at that time, and does that relate to you now? And if it does, great, and you're happy with that, fantastic. But what are any aspects of it that really have a negative impact on you now? And then work on changing those things. And we can talk about various ways of doing that in a future coming 5-minute slots. So I hope that gives you something to think about. If you've got any issues, obviously contact me at the usual email. I'm around. I'm always happy to talk on email or give me a ring. You've got the phone number of the firm, although I'm not always there, but they can pass on my number. And I can contact you or whatever. And I just want to spark some ideas. And also, if we take anything away, we are not our past. We can change our past. We can change that. We can change our reaction to our past. We can't change the past, obviously. We can change our reaction to the past to help us move forward in a nice, smooth, happy, whatever happy is, and we'll talk about that one day, way. So have a great week, and we'll talk again soon. Cheers, bye.